I mean, the decoration looks awesome. They did really good.
Well, and I love it when we all look the same. Like every regional event that we do, like the board should all have the same thing on. Same polo, same hat, same something. Like that's the one thing we did phenomenally at Expo.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, everybody had their shirts on. They had their cowboy hats on. They had
their tattoos.
Our little number tags on the back. That was awesome. It was super cool, man.
And I think this is a perfect time to start the podcast, Thomas. All right, man. So how are we doing out there? It has been 105 plus for the past like week and a half down here in Austin, and I am done with it, dude. I am over this.
Yeah, it is. It's been crazy hot down here. It's actually cooled down the last couple of days. It's like in the mid to high 90s here, and then actually like, oh cool, it's actually not 102 103, and when you enjoy 97 degrees, but it's cooler than it has been. And I can't imagine Texas 105 with all that humidity that you guys deal with. Oh,
it's brutal, man. I had an awesome lunch, dude. I had an awesome lunch with another supplier rep here in downtown Austin, and then I was like, well, I'm just gonna go walk over and see Amanda at work. By the time I got to her office, I was drenched, and I'd only walked up Congress like 12 blocks, like not very far. And I was trying to find the shade. I looked like I was playing like a Legend of Zelda game where you got to follow the shade or something, or Frogger or something like that.
Yeah, but what was that game? You were playing Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go. Got to capture them all. Well, we've got a great episode here for everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is episode number 5 of The Climb. Welcome to the podcast. I am Brandon Pecharich. I'm with Market Media. Who are you?
I am Thomas Robertson. I am with Specialty Incentives out of Denver, and we are both happy to be board members of the Rocky Mountain region.
Yes, we are. And we always start these podcasts off by talking about some upcoming events. We just had our amazing expo. We'll get into that a little bit more later in the podcast, because I think we've got a fun topic for you guys today. But we do have a couple of events coming up. One that's being planned currently and getting some details all kind of ironed out. So make sure you're following RMR on all socials and the links down below. But we've got an Oktoberfest that we're planning and trying to figure out. So stay tuned for some details. And then following that, we've got our holiday party?
We've got our holiday party. Yeah, we don't, I mean, after our expo, we just kind of have a few things and they're going to be more networking. So the Oktoberfest events is going to be some kind of cool, fun networking event. Everybody gets together and just lets loose and have a great time. And then a holiday party is something that just ends up the year, and we all get together and enjoy each other and enjoy, one more year down and moving on to another year, getting ready for the holidays. Look for those.
And getting ready for Thomas to not exit the board, because we still get him for one more year with past president stuff. But we will be seeing a new president for RMR, and that's usually about when we do the voting and the announcing, and we do our strategic meetings and all that. So if you've got any great ideas that you want to see RMR do next year, one, you can reach out to any of the board members and we'll try and see if we can get them on the schedule. And 2, you can join RMR and join the board and actually be a part of the planning and the executing of those amazing ideas. So we look forward to everybody joining us and doing all of that. And at the beginning, I talked about that we had just got done with our expo, and that is kind of our big thing. It's the Rocky Mountain Roundup is what we call it. And RMR did it this year at the at the Stockyards Event Center, I think.
So it's a Stockyard Event Center at the National Western Center. So that's what it is. Yeah. And we did, we just had it a week ago, and it was awesome. I mean, everything about the expo was awesome. The venue, the people at the venue that we worked with, the food truck that we had come in, all the suppliers that came in, whether they were factory reps, multi-line reps, they brought some awesome displays, and they brought product, people to look around, and we had so much space. I felt like we weren't just on top of each other like we've been in the past. Our RMR shows have been like that in the past. Not that we meant to have that. It's just, I think we've all talked about it. You just kind of get used to that's how you set up a trade show, aisle. And this year we set it up in different ways where people kind of got to walk around. Not only did distributors who were talking to suppliers or multi-line reps at their booth have space, but our suppliers and our multi-line reps that were there had space to like really not only display their products and, you know, really display themselves as well. And also be able to talk to someone where you didn't feel like you were talking to someone and you could hear someone else talking right next to you. I think we had a lot of fun with little activities going on. So it was a blast. Everything about that day was just awesome, other than the heat, but it was just hot everywhere in Denver last week. We had to laugh because me and Brandon have laughed since the beginning. We talked like, well, we should go to Colorado because it's always cooler where we live. It's hot. It was the last 2 times me and Brandon have been in Colorado. I think we have brought the heat. So we apologize to everybody in Colorado. That
everybody
the expo was awesome.
Like, stop coming to Colorado. You're bringing that crap with you. I think it was great. And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit today for just kind of our general conversation topic is the question that I have written down for us is, what is your favorite event you've ever gone to? And you can think outside of promo too, right? Because I think in this industry, we always focus so much on events because that is literally the bread and butter of our business, right? Where the signage, where the collateral, where the actual booth, where the products that people give away, where the uniforms that they wear, the hats that they wear. Check out these awesome hats that Thomas and I are wearing. I mean, that is what our industry does very well. So what's your favorite event you've ever gone to? And you can even think outside of promo and then like, why was that your favorite event?
You know, it's being involved in, this industry as long as I think me and you both have. There's been so many fun events that I've been to. We all talk about, the Vegas, the ASIs that I've been to, Long Beach, ISS show. For me, kind of thinking outside, like, not so much outside like a big show, but I did an end user show a few years ago in Arizona, and it was just awesome the way they set it up, the way they did it. It was just they had fun games every time someone came to your booth. You had a little game that they had to play with these playing cards, and you had to give them a playing card, and they had to try to get a full house. So the best person who had the best cards, best hand of poker at the end of the day, won an item. And it was super fun because people came up to you and obviously they're like, all right, I want to get my card. And but it was also great because you could say, okay, hey, before I give you the card, let's have a conversation, let's talk, let's see who let's talk about cool stuff. And and it was really good because people weren't like, hey, give me the freebie, I need my thing, I need my card, and want to go away. It was just the way that distributor put on their end user show, and the way they invited some really awesome people that came to that. That was just one of my favorite shows that I've been to, just because there was always something going on throughout the day. But I have to be a little biased because last week might be one of my favorite shows.
I was hoping you would say that. I mean, it's not going to be my answer, but I mean, I think that is we'll devolve into that topic because I think some of the things that we're attempting for this show and are attempting for our August 1st show next year. Put that on your calendars, peeps. The link will be down below. October 1st. October 1st. Put that in your calendars. We are absolutely going to be in the same location. It'll be a little bit later in the year, so hopefully the temperature is a little lower, so we won't have that issue again. But the space was phenomenal. Everything was great. We had events going on all over the place. You and me being the MCs. Like, I think if you were tired of hearing our voice this year, wait till next year because we've got some ideas for what we're going to do. But like one of my favorite shows that I've ever been to was actually outside of the industry. And when I lived in Colorado used to do a ski and snowboard expo every year. It was ski, snowboard, and golf started being added. And then later in the years, boats were added because Colorado, you can do sports year round. And so this expo just became something so awesome. One, it was cool because it was like discounted items from the year before, right? So you would go to buy your new gear, but it was last year's models. But you could also demo the new stuff that was out. So they had hitting bays for golf. They had these fake skiing and snowboarding platforms that you could try out a board or a binding set. or try on the jackets, and you go in these rooms and they'd blast you with cold air and water, and you try and stay dry. Like, I think what we're both leaning towards, and the theme that we're leaning towards, is the experience that you had at the show. I can't tell you all the booths that were there. The booths will all blend together, right? But it's all the experiences and the things that you got to actually do while you were at the show that make people want to come back to that thing. And I think that's honestly what the board at RMR did this year for Expo, and what we're going to do better for next year, obviously, because we'll have a little bit more time to plan. We won't have to be moving our show around. Everybody that was involved, kudos, by the way, everyone that was involved, how we were able to maneuver given the dates and the holidays that were really forcing us to fit into a very small time of year. I think having that October 1st date next year set in stone will allow the board to be able to actually start to focus on those fun events, and then have the suppliers have some time to be able to work on setting some events up for themselves.
Yeah. And it was not, like you said, next year, I think it'll give some people more time. This year we were bouncing around all over the place. So
yeah,
we apologize to the suppliers who couldn't make our show because they had to do other things, but we look forward to seeing you next year. And yes, kudos to our board for all the stuff that they did to get everything, planned and done. And the National Western Center working with us so good and making sure the food truck being there. Everybody all the people who donated items, huge kudos, and, thank you to all of you, for working with us when we were bouncing around all over the place like a pogo with a stick. We're not going to be like that next year. Like Brandon said, we are set on October 1st. So put that in your calendars, whether you're a distributor or supplier. We want more suppliers to be there. We want all the ones that were there this year. We want you to come back. We loved having you there this year. But I think, that is I watched this year. I was able to kind of walk around, like you said. We were taking pictures of all the booths and checking on people, being the MCs, checking on the activities. We had some fun activities, but you know what? A lot of our suppliers had some really fun activities at their booth. A couple of them had cornhole, a couple of them had some things you could, try out, different items that they were doing with, drinkware. Some had some, I think Sock 101 was giving away some cool socks that you could really, it was that experience that you could kind of be a part of. And I think, like you said, we hope that everybody walked away last year, whether you were a supplier or distributor, walked away from our expo with that experience of, maybe you don't remember every single booth, maybe you don't remember every single product you saw, but you remember the experience and you remember the conversations that you had, because that's what this industry is. It's just people talking, coming up with ideas, coming up with, new ways to do something. Hey, here's this. Tell me about, a customer you're dealing with. It's just conversations that are what this industry rolls off of. Of course, we all sell products, we all sell something, but in the end, we're selling ourselves and what we can do. And so if you can learn just listening to somebody talk, that's the best part of it. So, I hope that everybody gets that. I think, like you said, that show you went to in Colorado, you walked away remembering all the experiences and, the conversations you have with different guys, whether it be about golf or skiing or boats or whatever. It's funny. One of the giant events that we have here in Albuquerque every year is the Balloon Fiesta.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I laugh because people always say, "Oh, do you go?" And I'm like, "We do. We go. We try to go every year." And mainly it's just because we go to see all the different, obviously there's the balloons, and everything that they do with the balloons is amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But the people that come and set up their booths, whether it's food or whether it's product or whether it's, heck, there's been realtors there that are out there marketing themselves. Like you said, it's just the experience, a part of being there. And everybody's got some kind of little fun gimmick, and I think that's the biggest thing. And that's what everybody did awesome last week at our expo. Every supplier that was there was like, I don't want to say gimmicky, but they were like, I'm going to get you to stay at my booth for a minute so we can talk.
They
also
leaned in. Yeah, they leaned into the theme, and that's what made it fun, right? Is they were taking, like I said at the beginning, like these hats, like Outdoor Cap, they want to sell hats to companies that want to promote themselves, whether it be at trade shows or events or anything that they're doing. We had shirts from was it SNS? SNS provided the shirts for us. All of the board members had the same black and gray flannel shirts on. We had the little bibs, we had cowboy hats, we had the theme locked down. And I think that's what made it a lot more fun, is we really leaned into that theme with the stick horse races and like you said, there was cornhole, roper.
Rope there.
Oh, gosh, dude, the roper there was awesome, dude. We got some really fun shots. He was teaching people how to rope. We even had a couple of reps that were professional ropers and came over there and just won and done and walked back to their booth. I thought that was so cool. Like, it was just really fun to see using promo and having fun at a trade show. This is stuff that you're supposed to be showing to distributors, that distributors should walk away hyped. Like, one of the things that I kind of got discouraged on, and I hope we don't hear it a whole lot next year, and I don't think we will, because I think we set the standard, right? We set the bar, we moved the bar up a little bit. We didn't put out pipe and drape. We didn't do all that stuff. We did more pod areas and like you said, much bigger space. So people were spread out. I want to hear distributors coming because they want to stay for the whole day. We had a couple of distributors that are like, I just got to run through and I got to get back to the office. That's not what a trade show is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a reason to get you out of your office, go experience those products, so that when you walk into that buyer's office, you can exude that excitement and that fun that you just had over at the Rocky Mountain Roundup. And oh my gosh, there was a bull rider there. We got to do this. They had inflatable bulls. They were giving stuff away. We got to do that for your next show. And when you show how excited you are as a distributor to use your products, then that is going to just make that sale so much easier. And so that's really what, like, whenever I think of a trade show, whenever I hear somebody say the trade show is dying, yeah, the pipe and drape hall by hall, yeah, that's dying. But the fun one where you come in and you can hit a baseball or a golf ball or throw some products around, like if you've got stress balls, like honestly, if you're a supplier and you sell stress balls, if you don't have a dunk tank that doesn't have water in it, but it's full of stress balls, and you throw a bunch of stress balls at like the CEO and he has to fall into the stress ball pit for expo, like, you're missing out, man. Like, we all talk about, like, in our industry, we all talk about the Numo booth, or when Sanmar used to do the double-decker booth and they would hold meetings up at the top, right? Booths used to be experiences. Now it's so focused on product and we get so jammed in on product. And yeah, product is what, like, pays the bills. But if you don't push that excitement into that distributor to go and sell that polo that everyone else sells, then how are you going to sell that product? Everybody's got the same moisture wicking. It's the similar cut, similar collar. Like, we're getting to the point where things are looking very similar. So now you're selling it on your experience, selling it on your hype, you're selling it on how fun it's going to be when you get to put on that polo. Like, when I put this polo on, I get so pumped, because even though it was a very small venue, we crammed a bunch of suppliers in there. I remember that show and that Rocky Mountain Expo that we had at the dance conservatory. That was so cool. That was a lot of fun. It was a different experience. And we took the lessons we learned from that and we moved it over to the stockyards, and we've done, I think, a really good job.
I agree. I mean, I think what we took from, like you said, what we learned, I mean, and we're going to continue to learn, we learned stuff from last week that we did that we can take towards next year. I mean, and that's what we want to continue to have suppliers come, because even suppliers that were, hey, giving us suggestions, we were like, absolutely, this is a great suggestion for next year. Distributors that were kind of giving us some suggestions about different things. Those are the things that we want. The only way we can learn is, we have to get educated ourselves and how we can make RMR's Expo the following year better than the previous year. And we want to continue to grow and grow and grow and get better. And like you said, we understand that, like, there's some things that life just gets crazy and gets busy. But we want the RMR Expo to be every year where you come and it's a day where you get to, like we've talked about multiple times on this podcast, it's a day you get to get away from the same old, looking at your computer, talking on the phone, being away, get out and you can get educated on products, but being part of an experience, like you said, having that enthusiasm to go back. And even myself, I mean, being on the distributor side now, I mean, I walked around and I learned some things that I definitely did not know before. And I knew the product, but I'm like, now I know how to sell that in a way that I'm going to make it exciting. Like you said, exciting for a customer to buy this, where now it's not like, or when I go in, I can say, hey, I just came from a really awesome trade show, and I learned this and this and this. And I think this is what I can now take towards you to help you brand your company, or, buy for your employees or buy for your giveaways. That's what, I think that's what everybody should go to when you're going to a trade show. Go to educate yourself on what you can take back. And I think that's what everybody does. But come back with that enthusiasm. I mean, it was so awesome to see so many people that showed up at like 10:30. They were still there like at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Oh, I was pumped. I was pumped that there was still like, I'm going to call him out, and I hope you're listening, Keith. Man, I haven't seen you in forever, man. And he made the drive down from Glenwood Springs, and he was there all day. I think he was the first distributor through the door, and he was one of the last walking out. So I think that's fantastic. And one of the things that I think we should think about in our industry, and if you're a buyer listening to this too, is it's not a lost day. So many times I would hear people, I can't go to the trade show today because I know most of the product that's out there. We get a little jaded because we do see our suppliers quite often because they're doing their job and they're coming in. They're also out on social media and they're putting all that stuff out there. But this is a fun time. One of the shows that I wanted to mention, ski and snowboard, but I've been to 3 different all-star games, and Major League Baseball does a fan expo usually the day before the home run derby. So it's 2 days before the actual game. And I remember Dad would take the day off from his work to take us kids down to that thing. And it was fun to do, and it was okay to take that day off. So this is work. If you're a distributor and you're coming to our expo, you're not technically taking the day off, but it kind of feels like it because you're out of the office. So you're doing some work. You're just in a different location. So I want to see a mental switch in the way that our distributors look at a trade show. And the only way you can do that is by adding those experiences and having a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, and we understand deadlines and things, the way things happen in this industry, but that's when you can tell your customer, hey, I'm going to be out of the office on this day because I'm going to learn more things that I can sell you, show you, help you buy that are just different from the things that we've done in the past. I want to go learn from my suppliers, because that is one thing. I mean, now that I'm a distributor, I always say this too. I want to go out there and support our suppliers and our multi-line reps because, yes, one, they're out on the road constantly and they're seeing customers, and they're out on social media. But you know what? They're coming to like a trade show like we had, and they're coming out to set up a booth to show not only the products that they have, but to show themselves and like there's in the companies that they represent, and why, like, because there's always something new you can learn. Even if you saw somebody 2 weeks ago, you see them again. It's amazing how maybe you missed something 2 weeks ago where they say like, hey, we have this, and I didn't know you guys had that. Like maybe you missed it, or maybe it's something brand new, or maybe it's something they're offering at that particular trade show. Like, hey, now anybody who sends in, you get this, this, and this, whether it's a free spec sample or a free sale promo. It's amazing how things change. We all know this. Things change daily in this industry. And I think we talked about it before, like, keep up or you're going to miss out. And so go as a distributor, go out and support those suppliers, those multi-line reps. And you know what, those manufacturers that are sending people. I mean, we had people come from all over, suppliers as well. We had, a supplier from Alabama there. We had suppliers from all over the place. We even had customers, like you said, we had some distributors that drove down from Wyoming. So that was awesome. I mean, those are the things you need to do.
Yeah, and our region is doing a really good job of adding more service providers too. And we talked about it in a couple of podcasts ago, and that's one thing that's a big push for me is I want service providers to get involved in this too, because while the product is great, there are a lot of services that are available for distributors out there that you may not know. You may not know about it. You may not know that you can go and record yourself in a podcast setup with Market Media. Selfish plug. I had an entire booth and set up there, and I'm going to do it again next year. We're going to do it at more events across the nation. It's just one of those things where that's the place where you can go and do that. you can schedule your time to come and go and do things like that. Talk to people who can give you some funding, talk to people who can help you out with better pricing, or maybe you can find a whole new, like, because we put them in the service provider area, but Digital Frontier had an amazing booth, and it was all their products that you can go and sell to your buyers that need that for their booth and their events that are coming up. So like, and I mean, this hat, I haven't even shown the side enough yet. Like they did the Colorado deal on the side, and then they did the show embroider on the side. Like, big ups to Evan McGuire and his marketing group and Outdoor Cap for putting these together. But man, just make events fun. I think that's the thing, right?
Well, that's what we talked about, you know, with our board early on, like last year when we did our holiday party and our strategic planning and started, you know, planning some things. We wanted to do things that were fun to get people out. And we've had a lot of fun events this year that people like it was networking events. So you come out, meet other people, but we wanted our expo to, yes, of course, be a trade show. But we wanted it to be an experience where you go and yes, you learn, you educate yourself, you're enthusiastic about what you're taking back, but also have a great time. You know, and that's what I think we did. We had so many people. How many people went out to the food truck and came back in and were like, oh my God, that food truck was amazing. They're talking about what they got. And like somebody was like, oh man, I should have got that. You got that. And that food truck was awesome. How they set up, they gave something that was different and fun. And it was crazy because some of the distributors that were even talking to the food truck about, hey, we do a little event or we invite our end users to the thing. So I know the food truck that came, he said that he got a few names from some distributors that were like, hey, I am interested in, you know, having you come to our place or doing something with us. Those are the things that, like you said, there's always something else to learn, whether it's, you know, a provider like, you know, Market Media, Capital One that was there, Digital Frontier, also a food truck. I mean, we all get in the rigmarole of the same thing. And like, there's so many things you can learn in this business where what can I do to get my customers enthusiastic about buying again? Like you said, people love the promo guy. People love the promo guy or gal that come in. They know that they're going to bring some fun, cool things. But now you can say, hey, next time I come, what if we bring a food truck and we set it up outside for your employees? And it's, you know, those are great things to do. Like you said, that's what we wanted to do this year, was have an experience. And we want next year's to be even a bigger experience. And I think we learned a lot of things this year. And like Brandon said, huge ups to our board, all the people who you know, came, whether it's suppliers or distributors. And thank you to all the people who, you know, sponsored things, whether it be our lunches, so Sandmar and Digital Frontier, the people who sponsored, you know, Edwards Garments. I know we had a bunch of other ones, Outdoor Cap for giving away, Sock 101 for giving away, Right Line, Devara. I mean, we had people that made sure to give things that people were, and it wasn't, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, because I think we've all been in part of this industry long enough. Everything that we had in our little swag bag, from the bag to everything inside of it, was awesome. It's stuff that we all want to use. I mean, I saw people walking around with this hat on. I saw people walking around. I saw somebody go put the pair of socks on.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was, I mean, so huge, you know, thank you to everybody who was part of it. And, you know, next year's only going to be better. That's what we're going to take away from this year. We're going to have better activities. I'm actually going to get better at roping. So next year when we have roping, I'm not going to rope myself. I'm going to rope the cow.
I did get that on video, so be looking out for that highlight video. But I think this is a great place to end the podcast. Thomas, thank you so much to everybody who volunteered. Thank you for everybody who sponsored. Thank you for everybody who came out, distributors, suppliers. Like you made the event worth it for us to look forward to next year. And that's one thing you can count on, is that RMR is already looking forward to next year and planning those events for you. So if you're not a part of it, join RMR, get involved, follow us on social media, click all the links below. And Thomas and I will see you in the couple of weeks.
See ya. Thank you, guys.
Perfect, dude. God, we're getting good at this.